For those of you who are fans of 3-win teams, 2-win teams, 1-win teams, hell, even 4-win teams, the best time of the year is here. The coaching carousel, the offseason begins. It is finally time for me personally as a Jets fan to win the offseason again and then lose the regular season again. But let's get through these candidates and see what's going on.
Here comes the sun.
With Kevin Stefanski. He was the recent head coach of the Cleveland Browns from 2020 to 2025, an all-time record of 45-56, and a 1-2 postseason record. And that one playoff win came back in 2020 with Baker Mayfield against Big Allegation in his last game in the NFL. They then lost to the Chiefs on a legacy drive from Chad Henne, where I believe he took a lick on like a rush. I don't know if y'all remember that, but that was a great game too. He is a 2-time NFL Coach of the Year, only one of 16 coaches in NFL history to ever do that, 2020 and 2023. He's a combined 8-26 over the 2024 and 2025 seasons, and people would credit that to quarterback instability. We already know the Browns' problem, 13 different starting quarterbacks his entire run. That's fucking insane. But where's he going to go? Where do we think he's going? I think Stefanski isn't going far. I think he's staying in the division, and I think he will be the next head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson would be his best quarterback he's ever had in fucking his entire coaching career. The AFC North fam, I mean, Stefanski going there over to Baltimore after spending 6 seasons in Cleveland. It's not that big of a break in his traditional schedule, his traditional matchups. He's still going to play the same teams twice. And after 18 years of Jon Harbaugh, I think Stefanski is the most similar option in terms of just, you know what you're getting. He is a good football coach, even though there's been times where you could say he's fucking sold. He kicked himself out of Cleveland with the way he was coaching that team. But I think the Ravens would be smart to pick him up. It'd be the analytical, straight in, 1, 2, 3. It's almost like a seamless change if they brought in Stefanski. So I have him going to the Ravens. The man who just got kicked out of Baltimore we'll talk about next, Jon Harbaugh. Career record of 180 wins, 113 losses. He's 13-11 in the postseason. He won Super Bowl 47 in Beyonce Gate. That was it's over a decade ago almost. 2 decades ago, actually. It's crazy. He was the 2019 NFL Coach of the Year. 3 straight playoff appearances before the loss last season that did not get them in. And then they had a little break, I believe, in 2021 or 2022. And then it was another 3 straight. Harbaugh is that guy. He don't need no job. He gets to choose where he wants to go. There's been reports of him gooning to film of Cam Ward and Jackson Dart. So people are saying that's where it's going to come down to, the Titans or the Giants. And me personally, I think Jon Harbaugh is going to be the coach of the Giants. New York could make him their crown jewel and would break the bank. I think he would be the most paid coach of all time. I mean, they would break the bank for this man, and he would do more for the city signing here than Aaron Rodgers did in 2 years. Even though I still love you, Perk Boy, but you fucked New York over, I'm not going to lie. But if Harbaugh came to New York, statues would be built for him. There would be T-shirts. He would be the identity of the team for at least the first year. It would be the best coach they've had since the old boy got fired back in the early 2010s. I can't remember the top of his name, but Giants fans, I'm sure you'll scold me. But I like Harbaugh to the Giants. I think he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid. He's going to be a happy man. And let's see if he can take the Giants somewhere. But that's my prediction.
Kaboom! Yes, we go. Kaboom!
Mike McDaniel, Mr. The head coach of the Dolphins for the past 3 years. Career record of 35-33, 0-2 in the postseason. After back-to-back playoff berths his first 2 years, the team went combined 15-19 over the 2024 and 2025 seasons. And we all have to remember the Dolphins finished 7-10 only after losing 7 of their first 8 games. They lost Tyreek Hill, and Tua got put out of his misery. You could say it was McDaniel's fault. You could say it wasn't his fault, but his time was done there. I think we all assumed that the second they started losing 7 of their first 8. But I think if Mike McDaniel does not become an offensive coordinator again, he might become the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. McDaniel could go home. He served as the wide receiver coach of the Browns in 2014 under Kyle Shanahan, who was the offensive coordinator at the time. The Browns roster has Njoku, Jerry Jeudy, even though he's kind of a Jerry Jew, Cedric Tillman, and Quinton Judkins if he comes back healthy. They could draft a wide receiver or a running back. I don't know where Jeremiah Love's going to fall, but it mirrors the system that McDaniel ran in Miami. Long bombs and beating the ball down your throat, no pause. I think it would be perfect for Cleveland to bring in. I mean, they really never had an identity under Stefanski. It was still kind of a dumpster fire. So if they're able to build an identity with McDaniels, I could see the Browns giving him a shot. I mean, that offense hasn't been anything in since Baker Mayfield, and even then that it was kind of a sputter, even after bringing in OBJ, even though I think he is personally overrated. I have McDaniel going to the Browns. I think it would be a perfect fit. Cleveland could use some identity, and if they do not, or if McDaniels does not take another head coaching opportunity, I think he makes the Detroit Lions instant Super Bowl contenders if he becomes their offensive coordinator with all those weapons. I'm on St. Brown, Jamar Gibbs, Javonte. Well, I don't think it's Jamison Williams. There you go, no Javonte. But I think he's going to be the Cleveland Browns head coach, and if not, I think he makes the Lions a very nice offense next year with Dan Campbell struggling this past season. Then Brian Flores, the current defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. He was a previous head coach of the Miami Dolphins 2019 to 2021. Since leaving Miami, he's made Minnesota's defense into a takeaway printer. In 2024, his defense led the league in NFL interceptions and takeaways, 24 interceptions, 33 takeaways. By 2025, his unit finished third in total defense and seventh in scoring, despite the Vikings finishing with a 9-8 record and missing the playoffs. Flores has been quietly waiting for his chance back into the NFL since that unfortunate dismissal of him. But Brian Flores, where's he going? I think he is perfect for the Raiders. Flores and Tom Brady spent over a decade together in New England, and sources have Brady demanding Flores bringing the Patriot way to the desert, and there is a chance that Mr. 6'7" and Flores reunite to form the Patriots' best friends forever club and team up in Vegas. And I honestly like that. I think that's perfect. Pete Carroll was a fucking dumpster fire this past season. They need identity, and if they can get a defensive identity, I'm sure it'll make Max Crosby happy. Just don't tell him we're hiring Flores, because there's people talking about that thing where it's he told Miami don't draft him because they think it was Flores. I don't think so. I think nobody just wants to go to Miami during that time. But I think this is perfect. Flores and the Raiders gives him a perfect chance to build himself back up again. And hey, man, he could be one of them ones. I like Flores, but Raiders, I think it's the perfect identity. Tom Brady gets one done for his boy.
Oh, it was just a dream.
Huh? You ready for more, big boy?
Now we will cover one of the coordinators who might be on the move, and I believe he could be on the move. Clint Kubiak, the Seahawks offense coordinator. He's been there since this year, I believe. He is a key son of the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. I swear, there's coaching trees everywhere. Belichick, Shanahan. Like, what are we doing here? But under Kubiak, there is credit that Sam Darnold, not only from last year, but now this year, threw for over 4,000 yards and was voted to his second Pro Bowl, leading Seattle to the NFC's number 1 seed this year. We are yet to see how they play in the playoffs, but, I mean, just that alone with Sam Darnold after all the shit that was coming out those last 3 weeks of his season last year, people thought it was just Sam Darnold again. He also turned Jackson Smith and Jigba into the league leader in receiving this year, and I'm not going to lie, who was saying JSN was going to come out on top like that this year, unless you're a true ball gnawer or you're lying. He also managed the two-headed monster of Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet, and he's pretty much the best offensive mind in the talent pool this time around. There's no doubt about that. And I think Clint Kubiak is going to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are entering another reset period, and they hold the number 3 overall pick this year. Kubiak is being targeted to solve 2 problems. Arizona went 0-6 last year in the division. Kubiak's Seahawks offense hung 6-7 combined points on Arizona in their 2 matchups this year. Cards think if they swipe Kubiak, it solves all their problems in the division, and that might be true. Who knows? But if the Cards do trade Kyler Murray, this is the big one. They have to either trade Kyler Murray or cut him, so Kubiak can pick his QB this year. But if they decide Kubiak, you have to fix Kyler Murray because we already paid him $230 million. I think Kubiak could try to get the best out of Kyler Murray because, again, unfortunately, it's been 5 years. Murray is in the same position as Sam Darnold right now, so I think Kubiak could be the man. And then we have the sweet prince. I forgive you, my friend, Robert Saleh, previous head coach of the New York Jets 2021 to 2024. Despite losing All-Pro Nick Bosa and Fred Warner to season-ending injuries this year, we just saw what they did to the Eagles. Fuck Philly, we on top! But we just saw what that San Francisco 49ers team did to the Eagles. They just knocked off the reigning Super Bowl champions. And again, this is a team literally made of duct tape and plastic. I mean, Robert Saleh should not be leading a defense missing this many players to the promised land, but he currently is. And New York really was not his fault. So I believe this has been his pitch to become another head coach, and I believe he deserves it. And I believe Robert Saleh will be your next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons struggled with discipline and defensive consistency. Saleh builds defenses ready for championships. We just fucking saw it. Current Falcons DC Jeff Ulbrich was Saleh's assistant with the Jets. Go fucking figure. Hiring Saleh would allow the Falcons to keep Ulbrich and create another power of friendship duo in Atlanta. Saleh might become the next Dan Campbell himself if the Falcons hire a decent offensive coordinator. Saleh can just be in there for the vibes, the boys, and just tune them up. Granted, though, I think he'd be a great DC as well if he was still to get involved with Ulbrich. But I like Saleh to come to Atlanta. I think he deserves another head coaching opportunity. Go get him, dog. Then we move on to one of the candidates who I'm predicting, who I'm just not happy about, or I just don't understand. We have Matt Nagy. Nagy's been following Andy Reid's tail since 2008. His first run with the Bears head coach ended with him doinking himself out of the job. Mitch Trubisky, we know it's not your fault, King. You just balled out in Week 18 for the Bills. We know you got talent, my king. He won Coach of the Year during his time in Chicago and added 2 more rings when he came back to the Chiefs after he got fired. Nagy is the current betting favorite to become the Titans head coach, mainly because of their general manager. The two worked together for years inside Kansas City. It always comes back to Kansas City. Cam Ward needs somebody to develop him, and Nagy is being sold as the guy who developed Patrick Mahomes. I don't know about that, but that's what they're pitching him as. I can see why it's appealing, but I also have a soft spot for another candidate who might not get hired. He might get hired by the Giants if they don't get Harbaugh. My boy, the Oldians, or Mike McCarthy. I think he could bring some qualities that could make him appealing. I don't know really what he's been doing as far as football. I just like the guy. I think he's pretty fucking funny. They would need a good defensive coordinator, though, as there's no Dan Quinn this time if they bring in Mike McCarthy to solve his defense. I like Nagy. I'm not going to lie. I really don't buy the hype. I don't get the hype. I think Mahomes is literally a one-in-bajillion talent. I don't think you can attribute a development of a superstar of his caliber to Matt Nagy, but if that's what the Titans think, that's what they want to do, they can go for it. I would hire McCarthy or go for literally anybody else, but if Matt Nagy is finally going to become a head coach, good luck to him, but I could see him on the Titans. They're pitching him as the Patrick Mahomes Renaissance man.
And it's very cool.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that great? Just went up yesterday.
And then the final man and the final vacancy, it would be Chris Shula, the Rams defensive coordinator. He led the Rams defense that finished 10th in scoring and 5th in takeaways, despite being one of the youngest and lowest paid units in the NFL. So he might be able to take me or you and make us elite for a season just based off what he did this year. Shula is a DC wizard, able to combine players into packages that just fit right. And the fact that he got the most out of that defense on, I believe, was 31st payroll in the NFL, you know the owners are chomping at the bit. Anything to save money and put a good product on the field. And Chris Shula, I'm not going to lie, I had to look this up. I believe he's going to become the next head coach of the Miami Dolphins. And why? Because apparently there is a Shula curse. This was before my time. I wasn't even a thought in my parents' heads. But Chris Shula's father, Don Shula, fire fucking name, I bet he was from New Jersey, was pushed out of Miami after 26 years of coaching the team. And I thought Jon Harbaugh on the Ravens was long as fuck. The NFL used to be fucking crazy. That's crazy. Shula retired after this and never coached another team, and the Dolphins never touched the Super Bowl again. And this is why they attribute all the shit show that we see in Miami to this curse, the Shula curse. And beyond nepotism and curses, Chris Shula has spent nearly a decade under Sean McVay. If Tua is in or out, I'm sure the Dolphins are going to listen to whatever the fuck this guy's going to say because they believe they're cursed. I've never heard this. I guess I'm just not a Miami fan, but I had to look it up. But Chris Shula, I mean, he has the defensive resume. If he has the lore behind him, too, to create, like, the second coming of Christ, apparently, I really hope this dude turns out as good as his pops. But Chris Shula, if he's on the move, I mean, it fits the story perfectly. I love a story, a good narrative, and this is perfect for the NFL. So Chris Shula to the Dolphins. And there are a few other candidates out there that are on the talk about maybe moving. One of the bigger ones is Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator. There's rumors that he might be on the move. They might even fire Jim Harbaugh after that shitty performance last night. It might be Justin Herbert. I'm pretty sure they're just going to attribute it to the offensive line and run it back again next year. I don't think he leaves to coach the Browns. I think he waits for a better seat, and I believe he knows his seat is fine because that defense kept them in the game last night. So I don't think Jesse Minter is going to leave the Chargers. Vance Joseph, he's the DC of the Broncos. I think it's the same for him. He might be able to win a ring this year. If not, I'm sure as hell he knows that the defensive unit is the definition of Broncos football, so I think he knows he's still getting credited for that team. I don't think he moves on. Jonathan Gannon, you're going to be a coordinator, buddy. I'm sorry. Don't beat up your players, and maybe you'll get another chance in a year or two. And Raheem Morris, I think it's back for the staffing room for him, too. Good vibes guy, but I don't think he knew what the fuck he was doing out there. And, of course, right before this video is about to come out, Mike Tomlin just got he didn't get fired. He stepped down. So there is another vacancy, of course. I don't think Mike Tomlin's going to become another head coach. I think he's going straight to TV. There's no reason for him to risk his opportunities anywhere else. He's done enough for the game. He'll probably be a great personality. I mean, you watch his interviews, they're pretty fucking funny. I think the Steelers will either hire Jesse Minter. I know I just ended the video saying he might not leave, but I mean, you go to become the coach of the Steelers. That could be the wave. It's either Jesse Minter or Jon Harbaugh. I think this news is devastating for Giants fans because I think he would love to go coach the Steelers. So I got Jon Harbaugh at 1, Jesse Minter at 2. And if they get neither of them, they're just going to promote their offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, and let him take the Tank Bowl next year. I don't know, Steelers fans, I guess this is what you wanted, but you're going into a lot of uncertainty. But yeah, I don't think Tomlin gets another head coaching job, and I think Harbaugh might become the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach now. But if not, if all my predictions go straight to, I think Jesse Minter's going over there. That's perfect. Steel curtain, defensive coordinator. I think everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. And that's it. I don't know if I'm right. Don't know if I'm wrong. Hope we hit. Hope we miss. Let me know what you think down below. I'm excited for the offseason. Excited for the hypothetical ifs. If Justin Herbert is the MVP of ifs and hypotheticals, the Jets are the creators of ifs. I don't know. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed.